Were you ever in a situation where you felt like my values were being challenged, I needed to change them? Or did you actually like just stick to it? You know what I'm saying? Like, how much does a person change throughout a lifetime before they're just wishy-washy, is I guess my question.
Tolerance necessitates some level of expectation for you to feel uncomfortable, right? A truly tolerant person means that there can be people around him that are gross, that make him feel uncomfortable, that he doesn't like, but he accepts that they live in society because there might be things that he does that is not going to right. This is a big problem that like progressives have, where they feel like tolerance just means you've got a ton of different type of people around you. But if you look at the different type of people that a progressive surrounds himself with, there's not people that they have to be tolerant of. They like all those people, right? Tolerance is having a friend in your group that's like a MAGA hat wearing, gun toting Republican.
You've been doing some fun things. Can I say that Adam Snows, whatever his name is, Adam?
Yeah.
I love him. He is like a pretty balanced bubble person. Like, we're all bubble people, but like he's especially balanced, where he has the faith that you can still find a good relationship, but he's kind of red-pilled, but he's not like cynical. I like him. I think you should go on his show a lot more.
Yeah, whenever they want me. I like chatting with him too. All the people on that Valuetainment are pretty like, they lean to the right of me, but they're not like insane. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I had my, so one of my brothers, my favorite brother, he's the farm brother. That's what we call him. And he's like in the Catholic bubble. And he came and he's never shown his face on the internet. And I begged him to. I was like, please watch Fresh and Fit. And he watched you and Sneeko on Fresh and Fit. It was the best. It was so sweet. And he didn't quite understand because literally the other day, he has 4 kids. He makes like 6 figures easy. He's so successful. I asked him who Alex Jones was. He's like, I don't know. He just found out what LinkedIn was. He's like a very in his world, like very successful, but has no idea what's happening in our world. So he saw you and he was like, what's up with this blue hair dude? Is he like all alone on this panel? I was like, he's all alone. He is on his own. But honestly, it was the coolest experience watching him watch you. And then I saw that you went in with great enthusiasm this time around, almost like you were there for more of a purpose. Do you feel like every time you go on Fresh and Fit, you want to be a little bit more good at making your points clear? Like you want to convince people a little bit more?
So I don't know if you've heard of these people, but Lav and Mr. Girl were 2 people. Basically, them in combination with other things made me realize that people had burned through way too much goodwill of mine. Like I was being way too charitable to people, and I need to do a better job at advocating for myself, both personally and in terms of belief. So that's like in 2023, my goal is to continue to be empathetic and understanding, but like lean in a lot harder into the things that I believe are true and right. Yeah.
It's funny, I'm getting conflicting messages from my audience, which work's going great. I feel like we're doing a lot on my side of the internet. But one of the complaints I sometimes get is like, Brittany, you're too wishy-washy. You should make your opinions more known. But then if I make my opinions more known, they're like, Brittany, you're so judgy. And I'm like, like, I'm trying to be honest about how I feel about things or think about things. I don't necessarily need to convert anyone, but man, I kind of am judgy. I'm like, you do you, but like that woman on that panel that thought she was delusional for wanting a loyal man, like I don't even understand.
The woman on the panel that thought she was delusional. Wait, which?
For wanting, there was 2. There was a black lady with a green shirt and like a Hispanic looking lady or whatever with a, she had 2 kids, been with her partner 10 years.
Oh, the one who was thinking like, oh, like I guess they're just no good men, basically.
Yeah, well, both of them were one of them didn't want a guy who had been with over 50 women, and then the girl next to her. But they were both under the impression that it was sort of like almost insane to want a man who was loyal, which I understand is very complicated in the world. Like people do cheat.
It's because of the panel they're on, right? Like if you spend time in that Fresh and Fit world, yeah, you probably are going to feel like, oh, fuck, I guess this is all men. Kind of like how their audience views those women. And it's like, oh, well, this is like, these people all represent the average woman, right?
No, exactly. So I wanted to ask you, I had this thought about you the other day as I was watching you on this panel. And I was thinking, I wonder if he knows that in my mind, at least, that you changed your trope. Like if you go back and watch Old Destiny, which I recently did because I didn't follow you back then, you were like a different nerd trope than you are now. And I wonder if you would agree on that. Like you've upgraded in a weird way.
I guess in what sense?
Well, how do I say
I'm
this?
sorry, hold on. First, I need to know, when you say old trope, how old are you talking here? Like 2018 or like 2011?
I think like 2011. You're pro gaming ish, I think, or around that time.
Oh yeah. I'm significantly different from back then.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
What made you go from being that Destiny or that Steven to this Steven? Like, did you conscientiously like say, I'm gonna upgrade my clothes, I'm gonna look a little different, I'm gonna
Did I upgrade my clothes? I think I dress worse now than I used to.
You wear PJs now, but you upgraded in a weird way.
I think I filled out better. I grew into myself a little bit more. It also didn't help that back then I was literally 105 to 100 pounds, so I looked like a fucking skeleton.
That's true. You were a little skinny.
What changed? I don't know. I've been growing over time, life experiences. Fuck. I haven't thought about this much. But it actually has been significant in the past 10 to 15 years. A couple of small things. I think this is maybe the thing that's changed the most about me. Mm-hmm. When I was in my early to early mid 20s, maybe like 20 to 24, 20 to 25, I was still a bit like sociopathic, like kind of manipulative, like kind of a shitty person. And I tended to view people that were different as me, different than me as worse than me. You couldn't be different. Like you were worse. So like if you're emotional, you're like a weak loser or shit like that. That's how I tended to view the world. I made a very intentional effort. I don't know why. I don't remember if there was an instigating factor or an inciting factor or something, but I made a very intentional effort to stop viewing people that were different as me, as worse than me. And when you don't view people as worse than you, but you view them as different, it means that you can learn from people. And I think I got a lot better at stealing things from people that I've met along the way. Like different attitudes or different habits, or just like kind of like growing my understanding of people. And I think as you kind of grow your understanding of people more and more, you incorporate positive things from other people into your own personality, and you are able to relate to other people better. Which helps like your conversational skills, which is a big part of what I do as well. I think broadly speaking, that was probably like the biggest like individual thing I did that probably had the biggest impact on my change, I think.
Do you think you did it on purpose? Like I distinctly remember being, 21, moving out of my parents' house, going to the mall and saying, oh my God, I can buy anything I want. I can dress any way I want. I can finally dress how I want. And I remember that being a big deal. But then I've changed my style, as an example, so many times that I've been so many Brittany's, and now I've landed on this one. Even for you, I see a change in you throughout the years. You could even argue this like blue hair moment you're having now is sort of a change, because now you're going on podcasts and people are viewing you as a guy with blue hair, which is kind of funny because you're not, but now you are. But you're not. Like, you're not a guy who dyes his hair blue, but now you are technically.
Sure.
So it's kind of like when you call me a crystal girl, but like I don't own crystals. I don't believe in astrology, but I understand that sometimes I look like that, like assumption or that archetype or whatever. But I made choices. Like I deliberately dress a specific way. I do try to signal to the world, how I feel. Do you do that with your what does Adam say? Your PJs?
Yeah, I think everything for when you're an online person, I think everything kind of has to be intentional. I've always said this, my biggest fear in life is to stop growing, that like I'll look back in 5 years and I'll say I'm the exact same person, or that I'll suffer from audience capture, that I'll realize that all of my political opinions and everything are just like my crowd believes them. I've got a certain ideology and I'm like too scared to move out of that bubble. I just continue to reinforce it. That has always been my number one fear in life. So I try to like continually challenge myself in terms of like ideological growth, and I try to challenge myself in terms of personal growth, and then if I have and then usually there will be some like big like keystone like personal challenges that I'll have, and then from a personal challenge there'll be some type of personal growth or development that comes off the back of that as well.
I find like the greatest challenge to a human being is when their values are challenged. Like when shit hits the fan, which has been the topic of conversation on my VC this last 2 weeks. When shit hits the fan, do you rely on your values? Are you consistent? Do you have like dignity, if you will? I find that to be the greatest challenge of my 30s, is to continue moving within my values. And I wondered if you had interacted with that part of your identity recently, or like in general, because you must have along the way shifting political values. They shifted, obviously.
A bit, yeah.
So I want to know, like, were you ever in a situation where you felt like my values were being challenged, I needed to change them? Or did you actually like just stick to it? You know what I'm saying? Like, how much does a person change throughout a lifetime before they're just wishy-washy is, I guess, my question.
Jesus, let's see.
Sorry, that was a lot of word vomit.
No, it wasn't at all. It's just it's materially challenging questions. I think that I want to say that like my very, very, very fundamental values haven't changed since I've been about, I want to say around like 16, 17. I have some very, very, very fundamental values. My overall, like my applied values will just kind of change based on like personal growth. So for instance, like this might be like a fundamental value of mine, right? You ought to treat people like in a fair manner. That might be like a really basic fundamental value. Now, when I'm 16 or 17 or 20, my thought process is if I can handle it, you can handle it, right? So if I want to cheat on you or manipulate you or whatever, like I accept that other people might do that to me. Well, I should be able to do that to you. That's fair. We treat each other the same, right? Now I'm 34, and I still believe that fundamental value that we should treat everybody fairly, but fair, I have a more sophisticated understanding of what fair means, right? You know, me treating you in a certain way is not going to feel to you the same way as you treating me that way, right? So even if I don't care if somebody, like cheats on me or something like that, I probably shouldn't do it because you do care, right? The effect on you is going to be a lot different than the effect on me, and I should be more cognizant of that rather than just like autistically projecting my mind state onto everybody and then treating everybody else as another like Steven, right? So in that sense, my values, the very, very core internal values I haven't really changed at all, but like the way that they express themselves have changed significantly, right? Like I use the same values now to generate like my pretty progressive political ideology. I use those exact same values that I used back then to generate my libertarian ideology, right? Back then as a libertarian, my belief is everybody ought to have like the freedom and the security in themselves in order to pursue whatever life they want, whatever they find brings them happiness. It's like the ultimate idealized version of liberalism. And today I still believe that, but I recognize that there are a lot of things in life that are bullshit that need to be rectified if we want to really talk about what it means for people to be empowered to pursue the things that make them happy, right? There's no fairness in the fact that how much of your life is going to go is determined by, like the zip code you're born in, the school you get to go to, whether you've got one parent or two parents. So like I have the same belief, like that we should be able to pursue whatever we want, but how that gets expressed has been fleshed out a lot based on like the data I've collected as I grow and I learn and I see how people around me are and I look at how Nathan's life is, and the people around me.
Maybe you can help me with this. I have a podcast I'm working on for February maybe, where I'm trying to explain what my ideal world would look like. But then as I started like thinking about it and meditating on it, I couldn't actually create that world very clearly, because when I imagined my perfect world, it alienated and destroyed like so many cultural bubbles, right? Because like in my ideal world, like people would be like pro-LGBT, but does that mean I eradicate all the religious people? Like that doesn't sound great. So like that means my whole family would be dead. So no, like now we have to have the diversity, which brings the chaos, which brings the conflict, which brings the war. So it's kind of like a frustrating catch-22, right? Where we want to get along and we want it to be fair and we want there to be justice, but that's such a subjective understanding depending on the bubble that we just have this natural conflict. So I feel like that's where like the radical acceptance comes in, that humans are going to human, and what are you going to do? You do your best and then you see how it turns out. You have to trust people to have agency and to do good, and then you have to just decide what to do after they don't do that, I suppose.
Yeah, I think for something like that, I would apply to that. There's a concept called the paradox of tolerance, that like you should be accepting of people with different beliefs, but there are going to be some people that you can never accept, and those are people that are that have a true intolerance of different beliefs,
right? So like I can live alongside, you know, suck Dems and conservatives and homophobic people and people that, you know, like trans people too much and all. Like I can live alongside all these people. I can't live alongside like an ultra tanky that wants to like fucking murder billionaires. I can't live alongside a Nazi that wants to eradicate people of different races. That can't be the case, right? There has to be some level of reciprocation between our ability to tolerate each other, and that necessarily, people forget this when they talk about tolerance. Tolerance necessitates some level of expectation for you to feel uncomfortable, right? A truly tolerant person means that there can be people around him that are gross, that make him feel uncomfortable, that he doesn't like, but he accepts that they live in society because there might be things that he does that is not going to right. This is a big problem that like progressives have, where they feel like tolerance just means you've got a ton of different type of people around you. But if you look at the different type of people that a progressive surrounds themselves with, there's not people that they have to be tolerant of. They like all those people, right? Tolerance is having a friend in your group that's like a MAGA hat wearing, gun toting Republican who doesn't really like gay people, right? That's tolerance, because now that demands of you some level of discomfort, right? Nobody would ever use the phrase tolerate something if it's something that feels good. You don't tolerate a massage. You don't tolerate a blowjob. You don't tolerate your friends. You tolerate an unruly child, or you tolerate some level of discomfort, you know, hopefully to achieve some greater end. So yeah, I think that tolerance is it's not talked about in the proper way. It's a really challenging thing to embrace, and it gets confused with tolerance just means I've got a lot of people around me that look different, but in reality you like all of them, so you're not tolerating them at all, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here, I have a personal problem I'm going through. Do you want to try to help me?
Go for it. Knock yourself out.
Okay, and I already think I know what I'm going to do, but I'd love to hear your opinion. Don't say the country where my partner is from. Just say Europe.
Sure.
Okay,
Finland?
so you know I'm getting
Fuck.
married. Oh my God, I'm going to stab you. Okay, so I'm getting, married. Hopefully that's the plan. Everything's in the works. And my parents are Catholic and immigrants from Iraq, right?
Okay.
And one of the problems we're having is that if I don't, there's a loophole this priest we know who's a canon lawyer found, not a loophole, there's an allowance, because I've been baptized and confirmed, to get a blessing, not a sacramental marriage, but a blessing. That way my parents can see my marriage is legitimate. Because if I get married outside of this blessing ceremony, my parents will not acknowledge my marriage.
Okay.
And we've already talked about it. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I can't argue with your religion. But like, I'm a little frustrated that I have to do something. So the priest goes, isn't this a part of your ideal wedding? I'm like, no, I'm an atheist. I don't want a religious wedding. I'm doing it to appease my family so my kids have grandparents that acknowledge the marriage, right? So like I can find whatever. But then I wondered, right? Am I allowed to be a petty child and just be like, nah, I'm getting secular married and y'all can suck it up, and I could force this family to branch off? Or do I keep the family together by being the continuous glue that I've always been, fabulous and wonderful, keeping this trauma-filled family together? And so in 10 years, my kids can benefit from this religious ceremony that means nothing to me, but means everything to my parents.
Okay. What to do with the marriage that's a really, really, really easy question with a really easy answer. The hard question is, who is your marriage for? That's the question you have to ask. Is the marriage for you and your husband, or is the marriage for your family?
I want to say it's for me and my husband, but I wonder if it's also for my kids. And what investment I'm making for them to have grandparents that are able to validate the marriage, like so we can sleep over, so we can, be a family on Christmas if we come home or something. So that's where I'm struggling. Am I doing this for my kids, or am I doing this for me is probably the better question. Because my family, like, they can suck it up. But, like, my kids, will I be putting them at a disadvantage by not having this ceremony?
Sure. So then that's the question, right? Who is it for? You just have to figure that out. Because once you know the answer to that, it's very easy. If you're doing it for your kids, you're an atheist. Who the fuck cares? You can stand through some boring ass ceremony for a little bit so that your kids can have grandparents, right? It's not a big deal for you, I imagine, right?
That's true. So we're thinking about having, depending on how the immigration process goes, like a secular wedding that just like me, him, and one or two witnesses, just private, because I don't want that much attention on me. I just want it to be simple. So we were going to do a simple ceremony, okay, yeah, I don't think so. And then maybe like a religious ceremony when we have the chance. But maybe the first ceremony just for us, and then the second one for my family, something like that. But yeah, it feels weird to have just one ceremony where that's like it, and then it's like a religious one. But I guess if I have a barbecue at the end, I can't complain. It just feels so strange to be 33 and still playing the how do I like appease the family bubble game.
I mean, those are games. You must have like aunts and uncles and shit, right? And you're minorities, right? You're not boring white people. So I'm sure that every time you guys get together, people are gossiping and talking about like other family members. And that shit is happening all the fucking time, right? So those are games that are played until the end of your life. Dude, I remember every day my grandma, would wake up, her sister would come in, the Cuban side of my family, and as soon as she's through the door, it's like, fucking, you won't believe this, she's done this, blah, 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 blah. And then half in Spanish, half in English or whatever. Sometimes Sarah would talk so I could understand, but it was like all gossip and all family games constantly like that, right? So those games, if you choose to align yourself with family, that's forever. That never ends. You're never like, thankfully, I'm 40 years old. I'm done with the family stuff. You're doing that until the day you die, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, should this be the moment? Steven, I feel like I'm in a transitional period where I'm about to make a really big life decision because I'm choosing America or Europe right now, and I'm trying to decide like a lot. But my brain is like, oh my God, am I doing it? Am I going to branch off? I love my family. They're really cool, but man, they're in a bubble. And I can't live there full time. I'm too gay for this, but I so love them. And so you don't want to lose the friendship because it's too good, and you won't. They'll still stay in touch. They'll still love us. They'll just have weird religious rules, and they'll play like religious games. Like we have to stay at an Airbnb and we can't stay over and like stuff like that, which is fine. Everyone has a religion, right? Whatever. Everyone has boundaries. But yeah, it feels weird like getting ready to make a decision. Like that. But I don't know. I think I'll probably appease them anyways because I'm quite an investor.
Sure, yeah, if that's what you want to do. Just remember, no matter what you do, no matter what you think, no matter what's happening, there is only one truly irreversible decision, and that is having children. So I don't know if that's something that you... whether that's adopting or whether that's whatever, that's the thing that like once you do that, there's no going back, okay? For a mortgage, you can go bankrupt. For immigration, you can always come back to the U.S. unless you fucking renounce your citizenship or some crazy shit.
Are you trying to warn me not to have a baby? Is that what you're doing right now?
No. I'm just saying like don't ever feel like everything is like fucked up and irreversible. Like there's always a path back unless you're killing somebody, right?
No, you're right. And I think my parents will take it with my dad's already like... He's just like, look, this is complicated. We've never had a kid get married secularly. I'm the first. So they're just they don't know what to do. And I'm just like, we'll figure it out. Just like you did when your kids came out as gay or like you found out I was on OnlyFans or like, we'll just figure it out. But I think it's really interesting. Like it's almost like I don't want to break their hearts, but I don't know how to tell them like, I just don't live in that reality, Brand Bros. I mean, I've told them that, but it doesn't quite compute, right? They just think once a Catholic, always a Catholic.
Another thing that I kind of do, I learned this, I think, when I was 29. It took me so long in life to learn this, but it helped me power through. I still actually have a problem where I appease way too many people. I have a really hard time asking for things from people. I still have a hard time asking for things from people. But something that helped me when it came to like tough firings and stuff for employees and whatnot was what would I expect from me on like the other side of this transaction? So like, let's say somebody is making a really tough demand on me and I feel like it's unfair and I'm like, fuck, like, do I really need to follow through with this, blah, blah, blah. What I would think is like, okay, hold on. Would I ever make this expectation of another person? And if like the answer comes back to me as like a clear fuck no, I would never make this, then I'm like, you know what, fuck this. Like I'm just not gonna do this anymore, right? And that can give me a lot of clarity because at that point it's like, well, what am I doing here? Like why am I letting somebody place such a disproportionate expectation of me when I would never expect somebody to do the same for me? I would never make this demand of somebody ever.
True. Do you come from a family where you parent your parents?
Yeah.
So I feel like
like
sometimes I feel like my parents are real parents, like real adults, and I'm like, holy shit, and I can rely on them. And that's amazing. And then sometimes I feel like, role switched, and I'm used to that. I'm the third oldest. You get it. Like sometimes life happens, right? And I feel like in this moment, I can't tell if I'm supposed to be the parent or the child. Am I allowed to be the child that says I'm gonna do something different, or am I supposed to be the parent who says, okay, I'll fix it again?
Well, again. Even how you define parent-child, because you could say that, like, am I going to be the parent that's going to fix this and make it all work, or am I going to be the selfish child that just does what I want and fuck my parents? But you could flip that also and say, like, am I going to be the child that continues to follow the rules and regulations of my parents to appease them, or am I going to be the adult that says, listen, I'm Brittany, your daughter, but I'm also Brittany, like a married woman, as part of like another union now, and you can either accept that or you could not accept it, and our relationship is going to change, but it's going to happen on my terms, not yours. Right. So, I mean, like that could be framed as a parent or child.
Yeah, I like both. I think both are almost happening at the same time. Because my mom even said, she goes, Betsy, fix it. And I go, fix it. She goes, fix it. And I go, well, I can't, and I told her, like, I want you a part of my life, but I almost do want to put down my foot. But you know what's weird is, like, I don't really have it in me I feel like it might be petty if I do it instead of, like, because I want them to be happy, and it's not going to kill me to do a 20-minute ceremony. But a part of me wants to be 15 and be like, no. So I think I'm trying to also deny my 15-year-old self her revenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Mm-hmm.
It will all work out.
No.
Wow, Mr. Negative, Nancy.
Well, as you get older, maybe this is just my jaded view on existence, but, like, as you get older, you can't be of the mindset that, like, it'll all work out. There is it's kind of sad, but have you seen all the Harry Potter? Have you read all the books or seen all the movies or whatever?
Yeah, I've read all the books. I've seen all the movies.
There's a really important part in Harry's life. Do you remember when he's watching himself getting eaten by the Dementors and he's waiting for his dad to come cast the Patronus? Yeah. Yeah, and then he realizes, like, oh, okay, wait, this is, like, my responsibility. I have to do this. Like, at some point in your life, there's going to come a time where you're looking over your shoulders for somebody to figure out something for you, and the reins have been passed off to you, whether you know it or not, and it's not just going to work out. Like, you have to be the one to make a decision. The intentionality needs to come from you, and you have to move it in a certain direction, you know? You don't want to be, you got to be careful not to be waiting for somebody else to make a decision for you, and then life just kind of starts floating by, and now you're like 45, and you're like, fuck, like, how the fuck am I feel like I'm stuck now, and I should have been out of this place a long time ago.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? I feel like that, like, life is all these, like, tiny contradictions constantly, and you're never sure which side of the coin you're facing at the moment, so you have to, like, put it all together. I do think it will all work out, and whatever that means is, like, I'll be joyful, and then I think my parents will be okay no matter what. They're really, like, they're strong, like, they're not gonna die because I don't get married in the church, but they're, you know what I mean, like, no one's gonna die over this. It's just gonna be something that's awkward for a while.
True. And I mean, that could also be, I don't know your parents, but, like, that it could also be a thing too where it's like they have their religious beliefs, they're important to them, but, like, you're also their daughter and they love you a lot. And, like, it might be one of those things where they, like, like you and your husband go over and they're like, you guys can sleep in the same room, but you better not do anything. It's like kind of like finger waving and, like, whatever. Like, that could be the case too, you know?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. Well, thanks, my friend. I appreciate you.
Yeah, how's life been going? Streams, calls, everything? Been
wonderful. Honestly, like, I feel strangely blessed. I have a bunch of doctor's appointments coming up for some answers, which will be good. My dietitian says that I might not be able to eat everything I want to eat, but I will not be in so much pain all the time. So that's pretty exciting. So good news there. Everything's going really great. Honestly, I feel really lucky that everything's going so nicely already for the new year, I mean.
That's good.
Yeah, I can't complain too much. What about you? Everything good with your move and everything? Sorry about the internet. I heard it didn't go great.
Yeah, that was pretty irritating. But other than that, everything's been fine. I finally got all my shit set up. I live in a cool new place. Everything is pretty okay. My new year starts once I beat Factorio. And then everything's... Yeah.
Exciting. Now, wait, question. Can Melina leave the country yet?
No, I have to figure that shit out. It's really annoying. If anybody does like international taxes, actually, guys, I could definitely use somebody that does international taxes. If somebody wants to email me because they need to figure shit out. Because Melina's like in a really weird like work immigration thing where Sweden is trying to like eat like 60% of her income. It's insane. But like the immigration process on the U.S. side of things is like backed up to like 2 years now, and it's like it's insane that like I'm paying a lawyer and we've done the process like correct throughout the entire way, and it's like from start to finish right now it's like theoretically going to take like 5 fucking years, and it's just such an insane thing, where she's like trapped in this country for like 2 years and she can't leave or anything, and it's just like it's so fucking annoying.
No, see, that's why I have all this anxiety, because right now it's looking better for me to move to Europe on a nomad visa and then a marriage visa and then do everything really slowly, because if he comes here, he's trapped for the immigration process, but also it's like, I don't know, it kind of doesn't feel like the vibe right now, America. It just doesn't feel like... The problem is just that
for some reason it's so fucking hard to get into this country. Like you can get into North Korea easier than you get into the United States. Like the US is an insanely difficult country to get into, and the immigration process is such a fucking headache. Like,
Yeah, I'm just like, we're already like hemorrhaging all this like money. We already know we're going to spend so much for this process. It just is what it is. We're very lucky to be in this position though, because we're probably only going to have to wait a couple years versus some people might have to wait. Though I'm confused about Melina's case. Why is it taking so long? That seems weird.
Well, originally it was like 6 months. And then COVID hit,
and it turned into like 15 months, and now they're like 23 months. And I think that like the COVID stuff just like backed up and fucked like all of the immigration shit up like super hard. So everything's just kind of like weird. Yeah.
Gosh, that's too bad, because that's what I'm worried about, is either trapping either of us in either place. But I'm less, well, if I go over there, my healthcare bills can be covered. Like, there's so many benefits. It's cheaper. It's beautiful. Like, the food's better for my diet. Right now, it's my medical bills that are killing me. Honestly, I'm hemorrhaging. But like, it's, you know, it's
Do you have any kind of like insurance or anything?
Honestly, I did the math, and in the state I'm in, it's cheaper if I pay out of pocket. I still haven't hit like what I would have hit with insurance, so I'm waiting. But I'm waiting to see if I'm moving to Europe, because then I'm gonna get his insurance basically, if if everything goes according to plan. But right now, like, I am saving money paying out of pocket, so I'm doing pretty good right now. But yeah, it's like a couple thousand a month, just on medical stuff.
This gets a little bit exotic. Do you have any employees?
I don't have a business. I'm afraid about people finding where I live. I get paranoid. So like, I'm a contract worker still. I'm paying higher taxes than I need to be.
Okay. You should, a couple
Start
things.
a business.
Yeah.
Get health insurance through the business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you start a business, there's a couple things you can do. So one, you can look into something called a registered agent. A registered agent is a company that is registered on behalf of the state to accept service. So like lawsuits or mail on behalf of your business. So this is nice. So because a lot of the ways that people, dox people is they look up like, Brittany LLC, and they look at people and say, I got your fucking address. But when you look up stuff like that, the business filings are going to show the registered agent as the address that it's registered. So you don't have to worry about people doxing you that way. That's one thing that can help. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Registered agent.
Mm-hmm. And then second thing is, once you have a business, there are websites. I think I use JustWorks, but there are other websites you can sign up to for payroll and other stuff that also allow you to do healthcare plans that are only available typically for small businesses. And you can access way more preferable rates and everything. Some of these will only work if you have like 1 or 2 employees. So if you could W-2 a couple people at like really low money, maybe somebody that makes thumbnails or something dumb. But that might give you access to that might give you access to way better insurance. And then there's also a whole heap of savings that you can get on your taxes. Holy shit. You know how, for instance, like do you know anything about your taxes?
I mean, I know some things about my taxes, like writing shit off and everything.
Do you know, so like on your income, since you're a 1099 employee, right? You get a 1099 Form K or E or other things from when you go to file your taxes on that, you've got to fill out that SE schedule to show your self-employment income, right?
Yeah.
On that self-employment income, you have to pay a flat honkin' 15.6% tax, self-employment tax across every dollar you make as a self-employed person, less your business expenses, right? So if you make 80,000 gross, you write off 20,000, you net 60,000. Against that $60,000, you're paying 15.6%, almost $10,000 in self-employment income, right?
I owed so much last year. I was like, bro.
Yeah. If you have a business, like you can do an LLC, then you fill out it's a form. I think it's like what you do is you would make an LLC. You fill out a form. It's a form for an S corp election, 2553. And what happens is if you have your little business that's elected to be taxed as a small corporation, there's 2 different ways that you can get money out of that business. One is by paying yourself a paycheck, which is nice because then you get a steady flow of income into your main bank account from a business that's paying you. But the second part is if you pay yourself like half of what you gross, half of the money that you earn, the other half that you take out of the business, not in the form of a paycheck, but just in like a withdrawal, you have to pay your federal and state income tax against that, but you don't have to pay that self-employment tax. So let's say that you made 80,000. We'll just say 80,000 altogether. Normally you'd pay 15.6% against the $80,000, right? So that's a little over $12,000. If you had an S corp, right, an LLC with an S corp election, you would get $40,000 in W-2 wages from your business, and then you'd just take a $40,000 disbursement from your business, and you'd only have to pay that 15.6% against the $40,000 and not the other $40,000 that you took out as a disbursement. Sorry, that's really complicated, but the ending thing is that you're saving about like $6,000 there in taxes, literally like $6,000 in taxes less you'd have to pay to the federal government.
I literally would love that. See, this is all the stuff that I'm a very slow learner, but once I can grasp it, I'll get it. But like it takes me forever just to learn how to run my OBS, let alone like run this. And plus, I didn't start making real money until like a couple years ago. So now that I'm making real money, I'm like, okay, Brittany, like these are all the steps. I wrote this all. I'm writing this all down. Thank you. But like these are all the next steps that I have to take to make that kind of next step. You know what I mean? And it's kind of nerve wracking because there's so much, and I get really overwhelmed with systems because I'm always like, man, they're gonna put me in prison just for saying something wrong, which is not true, right? It's
as
just,
long as you're like doing
paranoia.
your best, they're gonna fuck you hard if you do like some hardcore like tax fraud. Like you're trying to defraud the government, you're trying to rip them off. But if you're making a best effort to like stay right, even if you like miss some shit, like oftentimes they'll have like forgiveness on like a first fuck up or whatever. They won't even care. They might even waive interest and fees. Like as long as you're not intentionally fucking around, like the IRS isn't gonna fuck you. So just make sure that you're not doing anything stupid. Like forming a business and paying yourself like $12 and taking like a $300,000 disbursement, the IRS is gonna fuck you in the ass if you do some dumb shit like that. So just as long as you're not, being okay.
Do you have like a CPA or like someone specific you hire for this? I have a tax girl. She's chill, but she doesn't do hardcore business tax like the way I should get someone to.
I do, but this is gonna sound really weird, but the nice thing about forming a business is it actually makes your taxes really, really, really easy. Because what'll happen is right now you go through some really, like for me to do the hard part of my taxes takes me about 15 minutes. For you to do your taxes, you've got to go through and you've got to like add up all of your little fucking write-offs or whatever, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, because I have a business, I have my business account and I've got my personal account, right? The only way money gets into my personal account is if my business pays me a paycheck or if I just move a big chunk of money over. Every other dollar that comes out of my business account is a write-off because that's the only thing I spend my business credit card on. So when it comes time for me to do my taxes, if I look at my business account and I see, oh, I've spent $200,000 on my Visa, I've withdrawn $200,000 and I've paid myself $100,000, I have a $200,000 business write-off. Now it goes into categories, but like it's boom, I know everything instantly because I just have to look at the numbers that come out of it. I don't have to go through every single individual fucking thing and be like, oh, because I have an entirely separate account without commingled funds. It's only for business. So I think that doing the business, once you've got it all set up and it's running, the accounting and everything becomes really, really, really easy compared to self-employment where it's cancer, AIDS, because everything gets intermingled and everything is like so hard to figure out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, every year I have to dedicate 2 days to like putting all my paperwork together and getting I save all my receipts and stuff. Everything gets saved, of course. So yeah, it is a pain in the ass. I need to become like, it's like so many of my areas of life I feel like pretty grown in, and then I reach this part and I'm like, oh my God.
Sure.
I'm getting ready, but here we go. It's been okay the last few years, but I know I could be doing it better. Like I could be playing the game better.
Yeah.
I'll get there. I'm moving forward. All right, I gotta go edit my podcast. Is there anything else on your noggin?
Nothing else fun besides marriage stuff, family stuff, any other crazy dramas? Or you need to get involved in so much more drama. I feel like you'd be a fun person to watch go through crazy dramas.
Oh, I'm trying not to be mean in 2023. People already think I'm judgy.
Oh, man.
But if there's anything good, I'll let you know. Just doing more collabs and talking to more people. Oh, I want to do the call-ins like you do. I want to do it on my Discord.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready. I want people to really challenge me for my ideas. I think I'm excited this year. Oh, that's it. That will be the drama. I'll have callers call in.
Okay.
And that can be the drama. I don't know. I'm too old for drama. My skin can't handle it.
Okay. Well.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, whatever. Have fun. Be careful.
All right. Bye, Steven.
Bye.
Bye.